Today, we're going to take a look at a different pot and pan set that you might consider for all of your outdoor chefing needs. Coming up. My name's Drew, and this is Evergreen Overland. On this channel, we showcase 4x4 and off-road vehicle modifications, we hone our outdoor cooking skills, and we do reviews on camping and overland gear like the one you're going to see today. If you watch any of my videos, it's probably not going to take you long to realize that I really enjoy cooking while I'm out camping, as well as all of the different gear that can go along with that to produce the best possible meal. I love swapping out and modifying my cooking kit and kind of just experimenting with different things that are in the market, and today we're going to do just that by looking at this GSI Base Camper large size cooking kit. I currently use a Stanley Base Camp cooking kit that I really am pretty happy with, and you can find a review to a video I did on that right up here. But after using that kit for a couple of seasons now, I wanted to take a look at something that might give me just a little bit more capacity for the meals that I'm cooking. I've been looking around for quite a while at different kits and options online, and even though I really like the Stanley products, I wanted to try something from a different brand just to see what's out there. GSI is a Pacific Northwest company. I'm pretty sure they're out of Spokane, Washington, and they've been in the game since like 1985, making, a lot of different cool camping cooking gadgets, as well as other things for the camping world. This video is going to be an unboxing of this, so you guys can see everything that comes in the kit. Then I'm going to cook with it a little bit, play around with it, and give you guys my first impressions. Let's go ahead and dive into what you get in this kit. Well, the box is super nice quality. It gives you nice pictures of everything you're getting in this. A couple different pot sizes, a saute pan, kind of gives you a breakdown on the back there, how everything stacks together and gets packaged up. And there you have it. This kit comes in a nice little nylon and mesh combo, so that'll probably help it dry out a little bit, being that it's not in a completely enclosed bag, so it gives some room for it to breathe. Little user's manual right here that gives you kind of how to cook with the thing and warning and dangers and all that kind of stuff. On the back here, you would want to read into some of the storage use and care. It just explains how you care for it, how you got to wash it, how you got to cook, how it should be stored. Kind of handy. So a couple of pieces of literature in this say indestructible, and that's quite the claim. I don't know if these things are actually indestructible, but that's what they're saying there. So everything in this kit is constructed of what they say is heavy duty clad 304 18-8 stainless steel, provided incredible and even controlled heat, along with some heat resistant rubberized coatings on any of the handles or surfaces that you're commonly going to touch. So to open up the 9-inch fry pan, you undo the lock for the handle. It swings out like that, and then you can clasp it over, locking the handle so that it doesn't collapse on you again. You can't collapse it and accidentally throw it down. This has got a really nice finish in here and a really nice rounded lip edge here. Now, the base of the pan right here is extra thick, hopefully to aid in heat retention and even distribution of heat to this, but time will tell there. Right here, I don't know how this is honestly going to work over time. I tend to use my pans pretty aggressively. I hope this is going to be strong enough to keep it locked when I'm doing, the whole saute thing and flipping food around, because just putting my finger right there barely flips it up. I might be able to bend that down and get a little bit more of a tight lock on it, but we're going to experiment with it and see if it really needs to be done or not. Coming in here, you have the biggest pot. It is a 5-liter pot. We'll take it out. It's got these cool fold-up handles on the side that kind of lock into place there. It just uses its natural spring of the handle to slide into the little retention notches there and kind of locks it, which is cool. It's covered in that heat protective rubber right here. It's got a couple of pads on the lid as well as the handle. So hopefully all of those combined aids me in not burning myself more. It's got kind of a pour spout right here for doing noodles or anything else if you want to drain off a little bit of liquid, and then another little vent hole on this side, all stamped with the GSI emblem. These things fold down nicely, and I don't think I'm going to have too much risk of flames coming too much around the side of the pot and possibly melting these. In the description of this kit, it says tough enough for cooking over open flame or red hot coals. And in nowhere do I see in the description that the rubber coating should be kept away from flame or fire. That might be something that's just a given and should be expected. I'm definitely going to try to keep these away from flame and fire, but in the description it says able to cook over open flame. I'm not going to be cooking over an open fire with me playing around and cooking with it today, but in the future, I'm going to test that out and see if it holds up to it. In the base, you don't see necessarily a thicker base plate on this pot itself, so I don't know if it's internal. We'll take a look at that. And then you have, although this is backwards because it's reading on the inside, you have all your unit of measurements for liters and quarts and everything so that you can, you know, mix the right amounts of water or liquids in when you need to. There are all your volume measurements on the inside of the pan. It's got some nice rivets to hold on the handles. And then one thing that I do think is kind of cool is these right here are designed to come off so that you can clean and you're not going to harbor bacteria and all that kind of stuff. And the little guy on the inside, from what I can see, is the exact same thing, just 2 liters smaller. Again, on the base, it does not seem to have the same thick base plate that the fry pan does. I kind of wish it did because honestly, it doesn't seem too extremely thick on the base here. Granted, in this, you're going to be cooking things that are more liquid containing, so it's going to transfer that heat through a liquid a little bit more, but I do a fair amount of browning and sweating and sauteing in my pots before I usually add any of the liquids that might go in them or whatever, and I'm using these as kind of just a multi-use, whatever I need it to be. So we will see how this transfers heat in that process, and hopefully I'm not going to get too much scorching. So there you have the whole little set. Your frying pan is a 9¼ inch frying pan, probably 9 inches at the base. Your large pot here is about 9¾ by 5½ tall. And your little 3 liter pot here is 8½ by 4½ tall. I'm going to get these things washed up with some mild detergent and hot water to get some of the manufacturing oils off of it. And then we'll do some cooking tests. So I've got my pots and pans all cleaned and dried off. I'm going to get some heat coming through on this. Then I'm just going to add some avocado oil to it. I'm going to get this heated up. I'm just going to elevate this so it's a little flat. Hopefully, to crack them in at least. I got this turned pretty low, but those eggs are actually sliding around pretty good. Yeah. I'm liking this fry pan a lot so far. I was able to flip with it, flip an egg, so that's nice. Give it another shot. All right, well, one of the reasons I wanted to go with this larger system is so that I could do larger meals. So let's go ahead and start preparing my chili. We're gonna do a couple more tests on this thing. And for another test on this saute pan, I'm gonna julienne some peppers and onions and saute those. And if you want to take a look at a video of the Expedition Essentials Exo table, I'll link that up in the card above me. You can take a look over there and kind of get the whole rundown on this system. We're gonna get these both cranked up, do another couple of tests. I just want to get the oil rippling in there a little bit. So I'm gonna get my diced peppers and onions going in this pot, and I'm gonna get my julienned peppers and onions going in this pot. Really what I want to test here is 2 things. For the pot, I want to see how this transfers heat, and for this, I want to see how it sautés and flips. So far this lock is holding up pretty good, and I feel pretty good about trusting it to, you know, toss the vegetables around in there. And looking at this, I mean, you know, this has got quite a bit of moisture to it now, so it shouldn't scorch on you whatsoever. It seems to be transferring the heat pretty well throughout all of these vegetables as they sweat. The biggest thing with this is cooking some eggs in there. It worked perfectly fine, and then just trusting this lock enough. And as long as I don't pop it with my index finger right there, I completely feel good about trusting that. So these handles aren't getting hot. Well, I think the frying pan has done its job. I'm gonna turn that heat off. So I typically sweat my peppers and onions a little bit, and I don't want them to turn to complete mush. So I'm gonna separate them, put them aside. All right, we're gonna crank this thing back up, add the beef in quickly so the pan doesn't have a chance to scorch really, really bad. So basically, I've never cooked in any of this thin stainless steel for camping stuff without it scorching. So, you know, it really is the reality that your pans probably aren't going to look super pretty long term, almost immediately. And you can clean some of it away, but it doesn't really matter how they look. Well, with this point in my chili, I've got the beef completely browned. I've got my vegetables kind of sweated out a little bit. I would typically add my fresh garlic next, saute that for a little bit, and then finish it off with the rest of the chili components. But this is not a chili recipe video, so you're gonna have to tune in at a later time to see how this thing gets finished up. Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. All in all, I am pretty impressed with the GSI kit. I've got to admit, I was a little bit skeptical of the locking mechanism for this handle here, but it held up really well to me sauteing and everything. The surface was smooth and allowed me to cook an egg and even flip an egg, the proper amount of oil and heat temperatures and all that kind of stuff in there. The handle seemed to have held up really well with the heat. That's one thing that I was actually pretty impressed with on the pots itself, is the handles have a heat resistant quality to them for sure. One thing that I think is honestly going to happen to any piece of camping style cookware, being that it's trying to strike that balance between being light enough weight but also heavy enough duty, hold up to the abuse as well as just transfer heat properly, end up scorching my stainless steel pans a little bit, and they discolor almost immediately. I mean, that's just, honestly, I think that's just the nature of the beast, and I'm much more concerned about how they're going to hold up in the long term and how well they're built versus if they're going to stain on me, because I don't think that's the fault of the material whatsoever. I think that's just the nature of a thin stainless steel pot. Like I already mentioned, I really enjoy the handles to this pot and all the little heat safe little pads and everything that you get with it. Same thing with this, you know, you're getting a little bit of scorching and discoloration on it. I mean, it's just really hard to not get some of that. You're talking about a really thin metal over an open flame, and you're just gonna get discoloration on this stuff. I just know that out of the gate. But other than that, I was actually surprised at how well it transferred heat. The only criticism that I really have is that I'd love to see just maybe a little bit thicker of a stainless steel on the 5 liter and the 3 liter pots, or even have them have this exact same style, little increased thickness like laminated base. This big pot springs on you as soon as it gets hot. Being that it's just a little bit on the thin side, I think it's gonna do that every time when the heat fluctuation happens, and you just gotta be careful that it's not gonna spring oil up at you. I really love the size of the 5 liter pot. I love the measuring volume gradations on the inside, showing you your liters and your ounces. That's really cool. Other than that, it's a cool little pan. The little guy I didn't do any cooking with, because honestly it's the same thing as the big guy. It's still that popping back and forth on the base, and again, I just think the weight addition that you'd see by adding a thicker base like you have on the fry pan would be well worth it. But for the most part, I think it's a really, really well-made kit, and having a third pot in my set is going to be really beneficial. I'm definitely going to throw this into my rotation. I'm going to build some pot koozies for all of these, and if you don't know what a pot koozie is, it's basically just a giant-sized beer koozie for your pots that you can make out of Reflectix. If you want to learn how I make mine for almost all of my food-holding kitchen gear, you can follow a link to the video I did on that before. Overall, I feel like this is a really cool kit from GSI Outdoors. I was pleasantly surprised with the quality and attention to detail in the manufacturing on it, and I'm really excited to put it through its paces. Now, that's not the only option out there. Definitely click the link at the end of this video to be taken over to the video card of the Stanley Adventure Base Camp Cook Set I did a review on. This isn't really a versus video. Eventually, I might do a side-by-side review of a couple different cooking systems, but if you're just looking to kind of look at my overall review of both systems and make a decision on what might be right for you, definitely check out that video. Hey, if you like this video, please consider hitting the like button to let me know I've done a good job. If you want to see a new video every week that I put out, hit the subscribe button to be notified when I put out that new video. If you have any questions about the video, please throw them down in the comment section below. I love answering questions and interacting with you guys. It's really cool to start kind of building out and establishing this community as I grow closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, which is going to be awesome. I'll throw a link in the description section below over to the GSI Glacier Stainless Base Camp Large. They make a medium size for this if this might be a little bit bigger than you need, along with anything else I think of that you guys might find interesting that I used in this video. Lastly, if you want to follow me other places, you can join me over on Instagram. It's at Evergreen Overland. You can also go check out evergreenoverland.com. You can hit me up at drew@evergreenoverland.com or evergreenoverland@gmail.com. Get out there, cook some good food in the great outdoors. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.